Chair.
Call Alfred Naro.
I move that the question be now put.
I'm going to hear from Carol Beaumont.
Mr. Chair. I want to join my colleagues in explaining why Labor opposes this Families Commission Amendment Bill. And can I also start by acknowledging the contribution that Dr Rajen Prasad played as the Families Commissioner at a time when the Families Commission was actually playing an important and useful role. We did support this bill through the Select Committee because we did want to look at this closely. We didn't want to make any rash decisions on it, but having done that, we do oppose this bill for a number of reasons. We essentially are concerned that the advocacy function of the Families Commission will be significantly limited as proposed in this bill, and we believe there is a need for strong independent advice. And the Minister and the Chair mentioned he thought our position was somewhat inconsistent because we were saying we'd get rid of the Families Commission and set up a ministry for children with a senior minister. But in fact we are also saying that we would seek and continue with the idea of an independent Children's Commissioner. So we do see that this is very fundamental, that independent advocacy role. And indeed what could be more important than our families and our children, and having people willing to speak up on some of those issues. And my colleague Potter Williams has spoken about the area of domestic violence as being one of those critical issues. There are a number, and I want to come back later in my contribution to talk about paid parental leave being one of them. So we're concerned that this bill limits the advocacy function of the Commission. We're also concerned with the establishment of the Social Policy and Evaluation Unit within the Families Commission that's proposed in this bill. That unit will be very closely linked to what the government is doing and further eliminate independence of the Commission to undertake research in the areas that it might consider necessary for children, like poverty, like financial literacy, like family violence, like paid parental leave. Also, this bill significantly alters the governance arrangements of the Commission, and we think that it actually ends up creating a confused governance structure where the power will effectively lie with the Chief Executive and really make the Families Commissioner's role fairly redundant. So we're worried about who will actually seek and who will determine and set the work program of the Commission, and that's important. And I think for many of us, the concern really has been highlighted by the way that the Commission has abandoned its role as an independent commission recently, and agreed, for example, as my colleague Sue Moroney talked about, agreed with the government on paid parental leave solely based on what the government said it could afford or not, rather than on any evidence-based policy assessment of the importance of that policy. Now, I don't think it's possible to talk about paid parental leave without looking at the many dimensions of how that will support our families and why it is such a significant initiative. And, I really am pretty astounded that members opposite will be voting down Sue Moroney's bill to extend paid parental leave. Paid parental leave, Mr Chair, is something that you would expect a Families Commission to be promoting, and my concern is that they have already evidenced by their actions in lining up behind the government on this issue a lack of independence, and this bill further, in our opinion, will reduce the independence of the Families Commission to be able to do things like advocate for paid parental leave. Why is paid parental leave important to families? Well, obviously it's important from the point of view of ensuring that households retain some income at a time when families are under financial pressure.
Order. Look, this bill is not about paid parental leave. You can talk about that and mention it. This is about restructuring the Commission. And while you can mention paid parental leave, that's fine. You can't get into the substantive matter of the values or otherwise of paid parental leave. You can mention it, as you've done, but you can't get into the detail of that. Carol Beaumont.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Really what I'm trying to illustrate, though, is the importance of having a Families Commission that have an independent advocacy role in relation to an issue like paid parental leave. And if you are going to have an independent advocacy role, which we believe are compromised by the structures that are being put in place here with a change in the advocacy function, it's actually limited by this bill.
I'm going to call Dr. Rajin Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to come back and address